Hey, this is Patrick Jackson. Today I'm going to give you the 3 secrets to saving. If you're having trouble saving money, you'll want to pay close attention to this video. Are you ready? Secret number 1. Know, understand, and live Parkinson's Law. According to Parkinson's Law, work expands in order to fill the time available for its completion. I learned about this law long before I knew what it was called. In my first online business, I took my hobby, which is learning foreign languages, and I turned it into a business that creates and sells foreign language learning products, such as learning Spanish. I would write all of the Spanish lessons, then I'd have a native Spanish-speaking Spanish instructor check the lessons, and then we'd go into a studio in New York City and record the lessons. When I would write the Spanish lessons, I noticed that sometimes it took me an entire day just to write one lesson, which is very time consuming. So what I started doing was blocking out 4 hours a day to write a lesson. I blocked the time out every day at the same time, from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And I would schedule something else to do for the remainder of the day when I returned from lunch at 1 p.m. So there was no way I could return to writing a Spanish lesson that day without neglecting something else. And do you know what happened? I managed to write each Spanish lesson in just 4 hours. Then I tried something else. I blocked out just 3 hours to write a Spanish lesson, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And somehow, I managed to write each Spanish lesson in just 3 hours. I know at this point you're probably saying, okay, Patrick, I get the point of Parkinson's Law. Work expands in order to fill the time available for its completion. But what does this have to do with saving and investing? Well, Parkinson's Law doesn't only apply to time management. It's also applicable to savings and investing. Pay very close attention to what I'm about to say now. Expenses expand in order to spend the money you have available to pay for them. Expenses expand in order to spend the money you have available to pay for them. In the same way that I limit the amount of time I had to write each Spanish lesson for my business, you must limit the amount of money you have to spend on both discretionary and non-discretionary expenses. Instead of spending 100% of your income on expenses, only spend 90% and save and invest the remaining 10%, or spend 80% on expenses and save and invest 20%. And now for the second secret to saving: create a winning environment. I've been into physical fitness and nutrition since I was a teenager, but I seem to be more focused on fitness and nutrition when I'm about to take a vacation somewhere with a really nice beach. I live in Medellin, Colombia, but before moving to Medellin, back when I still lived in New York City, I took a trip to Barranquilla, Colombia. Barranquilla is on the Caribbean coast of Colombia, and it's also near Cartagena, which is located close to some of the best beaches in Colombia. Okay, so it's about 4 weeks before my trip to Barranquilla. I'm 12 pounds above my ideal weight of 170 pounds. I'm managing to exercise and eat right during the day. And then at night I tell myself, for eating right the whole day and doing my exercise routine, I deserve to treat myself to just one bottle of Heineken. So I take a bottle of Heineken out of my refrigerator, and the next thing I know, one beer becomes 2 or 3. And then drinking beer gives me a craving to eat something. And in the Bronx, New York, you can find anything you want to eat: pizza, fried chicken, Dominican food, Jamaican food, halal food, almost anything you want to eat, 24/7. So with less than 4 weeks before my trip to Barranquilla, I realized that if I do not make a drastic change, I'm going to be on the beach with a beer belly. And for me, it's a lot easier to change my environment than it is to change my behavior. It takes a lot of willpower for me to say no to a 6-pack of cold Heineken sitting in my refrigerator, calling my name. But it also takes a lot of willpower for me to put on my boots, jeans, a hoodie, a winter coat, and then leave my warm home at night to get in a freezing car just to go buy some beer. So I remove all of the remaining bottles of Heineken from my refrigerator, remove as in to drink. But of course, I don't buy any more Heinekens to put in my refrigerator. And that's how I create a winning environment. Because if there are no bottles of Heineken in my refrigerator at night, the temptation of drinking beer is removed. Fast forward 4 weeks later, I'm exactly 170 pounds, my ideal body weight for my trip to the Caribbean coast of Colombia. So how do you create a winning environment that will allow you to save and invest? Set up automatic deposits so that as soon as your paycheck goes into your checking account, a fixed amount is then automatically deposited into your Vanguard account, Fidelity account, or wherever you have your investment accounts. Since you have removed the money from your checking account where you would have easy access to it with your ATM card, you have now removed the temptation to spend your savings. And now for the third and final secret to saving. Change your identity. That's right, change your identity. No, I don't mean change your identity like a character in a Jason Bourne identity movie. Let me explain. Several years ago, if someone had asked me, Patrick, how do you identify yourself with respect to savings and investing? And I would have replied, I'm a person who wants to save and invest. I might have even said, I'm a person who is committed to saving and investing. But if someone were to ask me that same question today, my response would be, I am an investor. This small shift in mindset and identity has had a tremendous impact on my savings and investing. You may think it's very minor or even insignificant, but it'll have a huge impact on your savings. And let me tell you why. A person who identifies as someone who wants to save and invest has the behavior, habits, and mindset of someone who simply wants to save and invest. On the other hand, a person who identifies as an investor has the behavior, habits, and mindset of an investor. What's the difference? Someone who wants to save and invest lives by the following formula. After-tax income minus expenses equals savings or investments. And if the person is self-employed, but they want to save and invest, they live by this formula. Income minus taxes minus expenses equals savings or investments. But an investor lives by this formula. Income minus savings or investments minus taxes equals expenses. An investor makes saving and investing a priority. Poor people make paying bills a priority. When I tell people this, they ask, if someone invests their money first and then pays taxes and expenses with what's left over, what does the person do if they don't have any money left over to pay their bills or expenses? Well, how many investors do you know who have their lights or gas cut off? Not too many, if any. As we learn from Parkinson's law, expenses expand in order to spend the money you have available to pay for them. When you change your identity and start identifying yourself as an investor, you'll save and invest, and then you'll pay your taxes, and with the remaining money, you'll pay your bills and other expenses. And if you have a regular job as opposed to being self-employed, but you identify as an investor, when you receive your weekly or bi-weekly after-tax pay, you'll have a certain percentage automatically taken from your pay and deposited in your investment account. And with the remaining money, you'll pay your bills or other expenses. Of course, this leaves less money to pay for expenses, and that's a good thing because it'll force you to find more creative ways to budget your money and live more frugally. If not, you'll find yourself without gas or electricity. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, click like. If you'd like to see more videos on how to create generational wealth through digital entrepreneurship, personal finance, and intelligent investing, click the subscribe button. And if you have any of your own techniques or strategies, or even questions about saving money, please share them with us in the comment section because I personally read all the comments. Hey, this is Patrick Jackson. Would you like to get a free 2-step plan to creating generational wealth? That's right, there are only 2 steps involved. It doesn't get any easier than this. To get your free 2-step investment system, the Generational Wealth Infographic, go to patrickjackson.com. Again, that's patrickjackson.com.